A good day to each and every one of you, and welcome to our purposive communication subject. For today's presentation is all about evaluating messages and our images of different cultures. Let me introduce the presenter. For Linguistic Landscape by Mary Angeline de los Reyes and Emmeline Garcia. For Geosemiotics by Erica Marie Furliano, and for The Kinds of Sign by Ronaldine Despina and Angelo Galvez, and for Online Landscape by Ria Joyce Tigino and Christine Granado. For our lesson objectives, analyze media messages and or images using key concept of media literacy framework and create a multimodal advertisement of a cause-oriented event.
The key concepts of media literacy framework serve as a basis for developing a critical understanding of the content of mass media, the technique used, and the impact of these techniques. Also, the key concepts of media literacy can be very helpful in the construction of media text for different purposes. It contains the practices that allow people to access, critically evaluate, create, or manipulate media.
The term text includes any form of written, spoken, or media word conveying meaning to an audience. Text may use words, graphics, sounds, and images in presenting information. It may also be in oral, print, visual, or electric forms. In simplest words, the term text refers to all forms of conveying a message to the audience.
First concept: all media messages are constructed.
Number 2. Media have embedded values and points of view. So meaning to say, media messages are being shown not to bring confusion or any sort of harm to people, but rather inflicting good and knowledgeable lessons, information, and point of view that can enlighten and help everyone, making them as mindful as possible about certain topics or issues.
Each person interprets messages differently. Guide question: what message do you perceive from the text? How might others understand it differently and why? People perceive things differently. We choose to select different aspects of a message to focus our attention based on what interests us, what is familiar to us, or what we consider important. Often, our listening skill could be used improvement. For example, an introvert person can only understand the specific within his own thinking, while an extrovert person, since he is more exposed beyond his comfort zone, then he could be thinking more wide and more different than that an introvert. The text implies that each person have different perspective on any text. We all have unique ideas, way of thinking, and interpreting a specific text.
Number 4. Media have commercial, ideological, or political interests, which means media influence people by just entertaining them, by being aware of politics and social change.
Number 5. Media messages are constructed using creative language having its own rule. This concept explores the format of media message and examines the way a message is being constructed. Under this concept are 3 guide questions. Number 1. What techniques are used and why? Number 2. How effective are the techniques in supporting the messages or themes of the text? And lastly, number 3. What are the other ways of presenting the message?
The term linguistic landscape refers to all visible semiotic signs in public places. And when we say semiotics, it is the study of sign processes or semiosis, investigation into how meaning is created and how meaning is communicated. The things you can usually see that do not necessarily need words to express a thought is called linguistic landscape. This not only includes printed, written, carved, sprayed, or any visible language that occurs in the physical world, but also pictures, colors, logos, graphs, and other meaningful signs that we can see in public places. All those signs, when grouped all together, forms the linguistic landscape of a given locality.
Features of the linguistic landscape. Most studies of the linguistic landscape are socio-economic in nature. They seek to find correlations between the use of certain languages, such as English, in parts of city, and compare them to the general standard of living in those areas. There is a general agreement that language use in the linguistic landscape falls into one of the two categories. The first one is top-down, such as public signs created by the state or local government bodies, and the other one is the bottom-up language, such as created by the shop owners, private businesses, and etc. There is a general agreement that language use in the linguistic landscape falls into one of the two categories. The first one is top-down, such as public signs created by the state or local government bodies, and the other one is the bottom-up language, such as created by the shop owners, private businesses, and etc. As summarized in the table, the two categories of linguistic landscape. Example of top-down. Example of the bottom-up language.
Geosemiotics. From the word geo means earth or the location of the sign, and semiotics is the study of sign and symbol. And the overall meaning of geosemiotics is the place where the sign is put in. What is geosemiotics? So this is the study of social meaning of the material placement of signs and discourses and of our actions in the material world by Money and Evans 2015. So it means that geosemiotics is the one that pays attention to details and explore the meaning of placement of sign. For example, you will see a traffic light that is on red, which means stop. Principles of geosemiotics. Number 1, indexicality. Meaning was given to a sign by the place the sign was put in. It means that the sign that was put in a particular place has a purpose or has a meaning. For example, the sign that it is a slippery road, which means you have to be careful because the road is slippery. Number 2, dialogicality. Sign of double meaning and they correspond with each other. It means that a sign has a meaning, but it depends of a person how he or she interprets that sign, but they still correspond with each other or they still have the same meaning. Number 3, selection. One does not see all sign. So it means that you decide what sign you will notice and what sign you will give more attention and what sign you will ignore. So that's the meaning of selection. These are the examples of geosemiotics. So geosemiotics pays attention to details. So there is an example there, a road sign in a road. So you will see, does it match? No, it doesn't match because it's supposed to be a straight line, not a zigzag line. So that's geosemiotic means. You will pay attention on what's given there.
Now that you're already aware of the meaning of sign, let us begin with different kinds of it. First is the regulatory sign. Regulatory signs indicates authority and is official or legal prohibitions. As I elaborate more, these signs describe a range of signs that are used to indicate or reinforce traffic laws, regulations, or requirements which apply either at all time or at specified times or places upon a street or highway, the disregard of which may constitute a violation, or signs in general that regulate public behavior in places open to public. And these are the examples of regulatory signs. It clearly states what regulatory signs means. It shows warnings, signals, or safety precautions that can help people to prevent any hazardous happenings.
Commercial signs advertises or promotes a product, an event, or a service in commerce. Commercial signs advertises or promotes a product, an event, or a service in commerce.
So next is infrastructural signs. So these are the signs or things being labeled to direct maintenance of a building or any infrastructure. Meaning to say, these signs are intended also to give warnings and signals as well that a certain building or any infrastructure obviously is under maintenance and must be avoided to prevent any serious and harmful problems. So just look at these pictures. It clearly states how infrastructural signs serve as a prevention to everybody.
Transgressive, if it violates intentionally or accidentally the conventional semiotics or is in wrong place. Transgressive signs are put into places without authorization and therefore may be wiped out by the authorities. In other words, this kind of sign is unauthorized, but the person behind those illegal signs have an intention why they put that sign. It is their way of showing or telling what they really feel and think about a specific topic.
The last topic is all about online landscape. When we say online landscape, this is very familiar with us because right now, we are actually operating our educational system within the online landscape. Here are some
Online
examples
landscape.
of
This is
media
very
in
familiar
online
with
landscape.
us, especially the netizens.
YouTube.
Right now, we are
YouTube can
actively
specifically
creating
be
educational system
considered
within
as
the
signs
online
or
landscape.
symbols.
Or using
YouTube
Zoom.
video producers use
And
symbols
that
and
is,
signs,
YouTube
generally
of the
inclusive in the
universities
language used to
actually
convey the
address
message
problems
they
in
want to
education
express.
that we are experiencing during this pandemic, okay?
Twitter.
So, aside from Zoom,
It
of
is an
course,
American
which is an
microblogging
educational
and
platform,
social
we
networking
have
on which
Google
users
Classroom and the
post and
internet
interact
platform.
message known as
So,
tweet.
in
According to
in
Killen
online
and Merchant
landscape, you can
2013
find this
and
online,
Mooney
of
Evans of
course.
2015,
So, the
it provides
people behind
opportunities
the people
and
who
resources
use
for
online.
making choices
Online
in how we
landscape
create
is
a
called
personalized
to the netizen.
linguistic
These
and
are
semiotic landscape.
The people who go online. The term netizen is
The
the
last one is the
abstraction of the
memes.
word
Memes
internet
is a
and
term
citizen.
given to any post,
So, citizens
language, or
are
forum
metaphorically
that has an
considered
update
as
to
the
a social,
netizens
moral,
of the
or
virtual
political
world.
idea that most of the time seems funny. According to Nobel and Blankshire 2007 and Mooney and Evans 2015, memes are contagious patterns of cultural information that get passed from mind and directly generate and shape the mindsets and significant forms of behavior and action of a social group. Memes include such things as popular tunes, catchphrases, clothing fashions, and so on.
Thank you for listening.